PTE Academic Top 20 Tips to Get a High Score. In this video, I'm going to talk about the top 20 things which from our experience of teaching hundreds of PTE and IELTS students, the top 20 things that will help you improve and get a high score in your exam. Let's start with basics. So the very first tip is always have a plan. That means don't go into exam without a strategy. So a lot of times we go into the exam but we don't really know, or we are not clear about how we are going to handle each and every question type. We are not aware of what our strong areas are or what our weak areas are. And when we do that, we just end up confusing ourselves. So you'll find yourself rushing in the exam, and that doesn't help get a good score. So always have a plan. You should be well prepared enough that you understand your strong areas, you understand your weak areas, you know how to handle each question type. Okay, so you should have a plan for each and everything. The second basic tip, use your time wisely. What that means is that you should know where to spend more time and where to spend less time. Now, for example, some of us will find fill in the blanks in the reading section quite easy. Okay, on the other hand, we might find reorder paragraph type questions very difficult. So then I know that I can spend 1 minute or even less than 1 minute on a fill in the blanks question, but I need 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes to spend on a reorder paragraph question. So similarly, you should also know how to use your time, where to spend more time and where to spend less time. And this will come to you naturally once you have practiced in proper timed environments. Okay, so do your practice seriously and get an understanding of where to put in more or where to put in less time. The next tip, again a very basic one, don't depend entirely on shortcuts and tricks. Now, I know a lot of students, they watch a lot of videos on YouTube, or even the ones who go to these PTE or IELTS classes, right? Uh, which sell shortcuts, which sell tricks. Now, the problem with a shortcut and a trick is that, it might or might not work. So, if in the exam you're presented with a different type of a question, a different type of an essay or an image, the shortcut that you have learned or the trick that you have learned will not work. So be smart. Use these tips, tricks, and shortcuts where possible. They can definitely help. If you're looking for small improvements in your score, they can help. But if you want a good score, then you should properly learn how to handle all these different tasks that will come up in the exam. Now let's look into the speaking section. The fourth tip, that's for speaking. Understand how you speak, and then work on your pace, fluency, and accent. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean when we say understand how you speak? It means that you know how your speech is. Okay, you should have a clear idea of whether you speak slowly, whether you speak too fast, what kind of an accent you have, which words you find difficult to pronounce, right? You should have a clear understanding of this. In our one-to-one classes, we work with students, we help them understand all of this. And I'm sure if you have taken a course before and you were lucky enough to have a good teacher, they should have also done this. So help you understand how you speak. Another way to do this is when you are practicing, when you are doing any speaking task, just record it in your mobile phone or somewhere, and play it in front of a friend or somebody who's a better speaker of the English language, and then that person can help you identify your mistakes. Once you know that, then you know what you need to improve, whether you need to improve your fluency, you need to vary your pace, whether you need to work on your accent. Okay, so the first thing that you should do, understand how you speak. The fifth tip, don't miss key information in images and lectures. What that means is that you need to learn to identify the key points. Okay, you see an image, it's got 10 different lines, it's a line graph with 10 different lines. then a lot of times I've seen students, they just get confused. But the point is that some of these images, some of these lines, they'll be more important than the others. Okay, so try to pick that key information. Try to understand what the image is saying, what the key ideas are, what the trends are. And the same applies to the lectures when you're listening to. You should be able to identify what the main point in the essay is. What is the speaker, mainly concerned with. So, so that, once you know that, then you can include that in your response. Otherwise, a lot of students, they just end up talking about less important information, examples or supporting information, etc. But to get a good score in these tasks, you need to be able to identify the key information. The next tip, the sixth tip in the speaking section, be confident. What does that mean? Speak clearly with full force and don't hesitate. See, the microphone has to pick up what you are speaking, and then it goes into a computer software which will interpret how you speak. Sometimes, because the students, they hesitate or they don't feel very confident, they don't speak with full force, okay, and the words, they don't come out clearly. This can impact your speaking score to a large extent. So be confident when you're speaking. Don't worry about people sitting around you. Just concentrate on your own exam and speak clearly. The seventh tip in the speaking section, practice daily. Practice speaking every day to improve over time. So now, I know that you clearly want to quickly get your good PD score and get done with the exam. But we can't escape the fact that you are building these skills, so that these language skills, if you build them up properly, they will also help you later on in life. So always keep that in mind, that what you are studying, it will be useful for you throughout your life. So get into the habit of daily practice. Speak every day to improve over time. It only takes a couple of minutes every day. Let's say you've listened to a news, or you are watching a TV show on television in the English language. Then you can just repeat after the characters. Or if you have listened to a news, what the news reader has said, then try to say that in your own voice, in your own words. And if you do that every day, you'll see that over a period of time, you'll naturally improve quite a bit. The eighth tip, that's for the writing section. Don't finish before time, please. Now, I've seen a lot of students, they will say, we can't write very well, we are short of ideas. But even then, they'll end up finishing their essay before 20 minutes, or finishing their summarized text task before 10 minutes. Please don't do that. You have to use your time properly, as I've said early. So when you are practicing, right from that moment, you should you should get into the habit of using the entire 20 minutes. So for example, the first few minutes for introduction, then for the key ideas, then for the conclusion, then the last 5 minutes for a review, checking the grammar, checking the spellings, all of that. Because even if you finish these tasks before 20 minutes or 10 minutes, you can't use this time for anything else. Okay, so spend the entire 20 minutes or 10 minutes on the task. Please don't finish before time. The next tip number 9, learn and practice one essay style only. Don't confuse yourself with too many different structures, too many clever things. Now, because there are so many videos on YouTube, so what happens with a lot of people, they'll watch, a bit from here, a bit from there, and then they end up, learning so many different things. And then when they go into the exam, because they've practiced a little bit of everything, but they're not a master of any one thing. So that doesn't really help. Just learn and practice one essay structure, one style of writing essays. And when you do your practice, the month before the exam or the week before the exam, just try to excel in that one style. If you play around with too many different structures, then there's a good chance that you'll make some mistake in the exam. The next tip, tip number 10, connect your paragraphs properly. Make sure your writing flows. So when you're writing, you're writing so that somebody else will be able to read it and understand it. So therefore, it's important that you connect your paragraphs properly. Use the right words to connect the paragraphs. Lead the reader from one paragraph into another smoothly. This is tied to your essay styles. So when you are practicing, put equal emphasis on both these things. Tip number 11, again, you need to practice daily. So do small writing tasks every day. You see a news headline in the newspaper, just read the news headline and write 5-6 lines on that. Okay. During the lunch break, just pick a topic, ask someone to just give you a topic, write a paragraph on that. Once you do that, again, over a period of time, you will improve a lot. The next tip, tip number 12, in the reading section, read with a goal in mind. First, understand what the question is, and then when you're reading, you can skim and scan as needed. But always in your mind, you should have a goal. Now, the goal can be that I'm reading this to understand the overall meaning of the paragraph, or I'm reading this to find a particular piece of information, or I'm reading this to cross check, something which is one of the answer choice in the question. So always read with a goal in mind. The tip number 13, draw a picture. As you're reading a text in your mind, right? Draw a mental picture. Connect different parts of the text to each other. So what this will help you a lot, when you're answering the questions later on. Okay? Because you will be able to immediately make connections. So then you won't have to read the whole paragraph again and again. And drawing this picture, it will also help you understand the meaning of the text better, which is very important. Tip number 14, understand the context. Don't just look for words. Now I've seen, and a lot of you will agree with me, a lot of students, they will just try to match words. Pick word from an answer choice or pick a word from the question and then try to match with what's written in the paragraph. You need to understand the context. You need to understand the whole paragraph. You need to understand the whole sentence and not just a few words. If you do that, you'll avoid a lot of mistakes. Tip number 15, again, the fundamental, which is you need to practice daily. Read a lot and read daily. Pick up a newspaper, pick up a book, or read something online, but always read a lot. This is like, you're trying to make your mind familiar with the English language. So the more you read, the more familiar you'll become with the sentence structures, the language usage, and then that will flow into your writing, into your speech, and of course, will help you with your reading. So read every day. Tip number 16 is in the listening section. Listen to understand. Now this is similar to what I said, for the reading. When I said that, when you're reading, read to understand the context. Similarly, listen to understand. Don't just match words, don't just pick words, but you should be able to understand what the speaker is saying, what the purpose is. That way, even if the question is difficult, you'll be able to make a connection, or even if you have to make a guess, right? If you have listened with an intent of understanding, you will be able to make an intelligent guess. So please always do that. Listen to understand. Tip number 17, learn to take notes. Now, you will be listening a lot, some of these lectures, it can be quite a bit, right? So it's important that you learn to take notes. Now, when you are taking notes, don't try to write everything because, then you'll not be able to focus on what the speaker is saying. But write what is important. So, for example, if you hear an important word, a date, a time period, those are the kind of things which are important. So just note them down. Tip number 18, follow the speaker. So it's a basic thing. Don't get stuck. Sometimes, when you are listening, if you're not able to understand a word, a lot of students, they will just get stuck there, and then they miss the rest of the text as well. but don't do that. Follow the speaker. If you have not been able to understand something, that's fine, move on. Try to understand the remaining part. Tip number 19, the basic daily practice. Listen to a lot of English audios. You'll find them on YouTube. Listen to all these tasks, funny videos, whatever it is, but listen to a lot of English audios. So that way, your mind becomes familiar with, you'll get to know more English words, more English language structures, and then naturally this will flow into your own speech, into your own writing. So please do that. Now, the biggest tip, which is tip number 20, don't worry. Okay, you will reach your goal, you will get the score you need. Don't give up. A lot of times, if for example, uh, you've got only a week to practice, you will worry, and then that impacts your performance. So don't do that. First of all, make sure you give yourself sufficient time so that you can practice. Once you have practiced enough, once you have learned properly, you will have the confidence, and then you will not have to worry. Even if you have failed in the past to get the score that you need, whether it was in IELTS or PTE, this is a new attempt, this is a new chance, and you can certainly do very well on this. Alright, so don't give up. You will get your score, the score that you need. You will achieve your goal. It's only a matter of time. Alright, so those were the 20 tips that we had for you. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you are looking for help with your PTE preparation, then please visit the Sure Way English website and look at the PTE course that we have for you. It's very affordable, more affordable than you can imagine, and it includes everything that you need to do well in your exam. For more details, please look into the description in the videos. Alright, I hope you find this video useful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. We will be more than happy to answer, more than happy to help you. All the best. Keep learning, keep practicing, keep improving.